Today's audio vlog was inspired by the Dublin artist Immanuel Godson, who's no longer with us. Immanuel was a regular commenter on my videos, and what follows is a series of thoughts that just came to me when I sat down to write, with him on my mind. So be sure to stay for the ending. Immanuel Godson went to the other side this week. I didn't know he was ill. I had no idea, although he did mention it on a comment on a recent video of mine. COPD was getting on top of him that week, and he found some encouragement in my content. Whatever way I read his comment, in my mind I saw it as OCD and assumed it was his quirky way of saying things. It was only after learning he was gone that I remembered and went back to reread it. COPD is a lung disease. I checked. I didn't realize that at the time he wrote it and wasn't paying attention when I read it. Had I been more alert, I would have got back to him. I was tuned out that day. I never met Immanuel face to face, but I wanted to. I did broach the possibility at one stage of doing an interview with him, but as I rarely go to Dublin and haven't been there in a while, it didn't come to fruition. And so, I was annoyed at myself, not just for that, but for not being more attentive to his final comment on my channel. I've been in this situation a few times before with good friends that I knew well. You think you have time, put meetings off due to the daily rush of life, and then they are gone. It's too late. The issue of time is something that I often come back to when I sit down to write. It's our most precious resource because it is finite, and it runs out eventually. All of our clocks are running down to eternity. Immanuel had his challenges. We all do. He spoke through his art. That was his voice, his way of communicating with the world. He was a creator, just like his maker, of whom he spoke often. There's a great photo of Immanuel sitting, looking towards the camera lens, facing right in a leather jacket. There's a badge sewn on its upper arm, a cross with the words, Jesus Forever, emblazoned on it. He was who he was and did his best with what he had been given. He had a gift and he used that. There are many who don't. When we use our gift, we use it first and foremost for the one who gave it to us. Everyone else is secondary. Sometimes ourselves and God are the only ones who get to see and hear, and that's okay. Not everything is for public consumption. It's just communion between us and Him, the one who is guiding our hand. A private affair, a moment between two close friends who have a secret to share, known only to them. There's a passage in the Gospels where Jesus talks about eternity and what it will be like. In my Father's house there are many mansions, he says. You see, God is a craftsman, the ultimate artist, so why would he not custom make a bespoke place for each of us individually? He knows what we like. He did create us, after all. I see Immanuel now, in his new home, his new den, art studio out the back somewhere, well lit, where all paints are plentiful and never run out. He's sitting in front of an easel, sizing up his latest work. There are 2 hot coffees on a wooden table nearby, and he picks one up. Then he turns to the master sitting on the chair opposite and asks, "What do you think of that, master?" The Lord leans in and takes a closer look, and then sits back again. "I like that," he says. "You're off to a good start, Immanuel." The master then reaches for his own coffee, pauses for a moment, and takes a sip before putting the cup back down on the table again. "Immanuel," he says. The artist, brush in hand, turns again to face the master, wondering what he might say. "Do you like what I've done to the place?" "Yes, Lord, very much," Immanuel answers. "I'll give you a tour if you like." "I'd like that," Immanuel replies. Then the master reaches over and places his hand on the artist's shoulder. There's a brief silence. The master then breaks it calmly. "By the way," he says, "well done, good and faithful servant."